Often class, so today is 20th of April and we will have to cover the current affairs of today. The first news is the cancelling of the trip in the wake of the rising cases of COVID in India. Boris Johnson have cancelled his trip. Basically, he was coming to India as a part of extension of the outreach of the UK as an independent nation to the world. And they were talking about different issues, or would have been talking about different issues, but now this particular conference is going to be virtual, and there will be further delay in the relationship or engagement between the two countries regarding the issues that they could have discussed or would be discussing in the near future. So I hope this is clear. Apart from that, the persons who were traveling from India to United Kingdom, they have to be mandatory quarantine in UK, and most of the countries all around the world have now designated India as a country of a major concern and put India into red list. So every country is aware and seeing that the cases are rising 2 lakh per day on an average. Maybe it would be safe to say now that they are rising at a amount of 2.5 lakh per day. So I hope this is clear. Now, further moving on, the next news is, I think straight away we should jump to the articles. Yeah. So the first article is protecting children in the age of AI. I hope you understand artificial intelligence. Before going into that, let me tell you the basics things of artificial intelligence. This article is written in the way of protecting the rights, privacy, individuality, the behavior, and also not taking away the children away from the social media. For example, right now, most of the time when we talk about having a balance between the media and keeping children away, there are strict parents who will not let their children use the mobile phones, and then there are lenient parents. I think strict parent की तो population बहुत ज़्यादा कम है. Everybody uses the mobile phone, but they are getting distracted by these particular things that are happening online, and that is currently actually threatening their rights, privacy, and well-being. They do not know well. Now, what should be the better policy in going forward? When we talk about artificial intelligence, right now artificial intelligence is everywhere. You see it in your smartphone that is talking back to you. You see it in your smartwatch. There is a presence of uh, Alexa. There is presence of Siri who is talking back to you on the basis of the artificial intelligence. Right now, there have been two major concerns with respect to the reach of the artificial intelligence in the world. The first one is with respect to the distribution and the equity. In that particular regard, there have been only two-thirds of the population that is still divide of the internet access. So that is a type of a digital divide that everybody needed to bridge, or everybody should have effort to basically bridge this digital divide. On the second side, we need protection of the children so that they can't be bullied, shouldn't be threatened, can't be intimidated, or shouldn't be blackmailed in any form of digital media regulation that is on that. So I think the protection part is applicable to everybody, specifically for the girls. Man may not so, but there have been cases of fake and deep fakes that are being available to multitudes of the uh, people online, in which there is a certain photograph that is portrayed in such a manner that a whole video specifically with respect to the adult videos are being posted in the name of certain other actors. So deepfakes have another type of business. So these are the threats that are currently online, but here we are specifically talking about a certain part, that is the part of the children here, and that include both the male gender and the female gender. Now, in that particular part, he have actually compared this particular thing that is currently happening with the pre-AI era, that what was the norm that we used to follow in the school, because there were certain crimes that were also happening against the children in the schools. So there was a society as a whole that have come forward. There were certain norms that were established. There were certain companion issues. There were roadside assistance. There were safer neighborhoods, inclusive instruction, keeping and watch on one another. These were some of the programs that has been conducted, and due to which the children were safe in the premises, within the school and outside of the school. There have been teaching about wrong touch and bad touch and good touch, in a sense, to younger children, so that he may be prevented from any type of exploitation that the other person may inflict on him. Now, these are the two major issues, but if you look deeply from the point of technical point of view, there is another issue called as algorithms. Now, right now, a lot of people are committing suicide with respect to the games that they are addicted to, and these games are currently made in such a manner that the children are basically addicted to them. Now, The business of the gaming will only cover the specifically the online game if the people spend more time on them playing those particular games. So therefore they are made in such a manner that the people are currently fixated to their screens and they are not able to actually communicate with anybody outside of the gaming experience that they currently having. The one drawback that we have from the pre-artificial intelligence era in which the school norms were basically coming up was that the persons were known. In the digital media, the persons are anonymous. You do not know who is interacting with you. He may be posing as a children, but he may have been an adult who have a better understanding of the things, and he can make you do such things that you are not supposed to be. So these are some of the things that you should be aware of. Apart from that, there is learning and data acquisition that we need to learn. As we have talked about algorithms, in the case of algorithms, the children are the prime focus and the vulnerable children are more targeted in a manner so that they should spend more time on the screen and therefore generating revenue for the companies, but also making behavioral changes with respect to the gaming addiction, with respect to the health issues, with respect to the staying indoors and not communicating, or you can say the social communication that they should have. Now what should happen? Definitely the internet access should increase, the infrastructure should increase, that is another thing, but we need to have a balanced AI specifically with respect to the algorithm so that the addiction of the games or the game should not be, for example, if the whole of society decides that the right now there is a game called as PUBG in India. If whole of the society decides and they request the leaders of the country that on a certain mobile, the PUBG game should not run beyond 3 hours. That is the total time you can do. And this is what you can play within a particular day. So that will automatically control and automatically spare time to other people all around the country to spend their precious time in something else that is currently desired. So these can be some of the part that can be discussed. Apart from that, the government have been taking policy with respect to the children. So in 2013, they have formulated a policy, but this policy have just remained in paper. It has not been applied on the ground. So now this particular author is saying that we cannot control the AI, but we should certainly not control the accessibility of the people who wanted to have or ripe the fruits or reap away the fruits or the benefits of the introduction of artificial intelligence. It is certainly going to exist, certainly going to exist in the near future, and certainly going to impact society as a large. But in that particular part, there have been issues with respect to the protection of the children, and for that we need to have particular framework in which the companies who are supplying the facilities, the government, the society as a whole should come together in formulating a policy that would be safer for the children, not only in the context of the exploitation, but also in their whole development and the well-being, that will be better for the future and they could become better international citizen in the upcoming days or in upcoming years. The next one is the ordinance route is bad, repromulgation is worse. So first of all, what is this? I think you all know there have been ordinance making power that has been given to the president and the governor of the state under Article 123 and 213. Now in those particular Article 123 and 213, if you read that particular provision, this particular provision gives power to the president and the governor, president and in the parliament and governor in the state. So the text of the article goes that whenever there is no session of the house, both the upper and the lower is in sitting, and there is a need to make a certain law that is of immediate need for the control of the society or for immediately needed by the society for controlling any kind of situation, then the president may promulgate the ordinance. What this particular person have say or have said that this have come as a type of alternate legislation that the state governments and the central government is currently doing. Now, if you see the part of legislation, what is the legislation? Legislation is a process which is passed by the Lok Sabha, passed by the Rajya Sabha, then signed by the president, and then it become a law. This is what legislation is. But alternative legislation is provided under Article 123 of the Constitution to the President of India, under which multiple laws are enacted again and again. They are re-promulgated again and again, and therefore they remain in existence without the sanction of the parliament for a extended period of time, so much so that in the case of Bihar, there was a particular ordinance that remained in existence for approximately 10 years. So imagine the situation, you have enacted a law that is passed as an emergency, but you are not able to pass that particular law from the state assembly. So that is the situation that have currently happened. Now, when we talk about the Supreme Court judgments regarding that, they are contrary to what the states are doing. Supreme Court have multiple times have said that when it comes to the ordinance, that is a special making power of the president, and it should be rarely used in the case of the emergencies or in the case of urgencies whenever there is no alternative that is available to the government. But government have often not followed what the Supreme Court have said, and they have bypassed and subversed the democratic process that is currently existing over there. Now, in the end, he says that the onus should be on legislature and the court to basically make a legal procedure clear or have a framework with respect to the possibility that in which certain situation the central government can enact or use the power that is guaranteed to them under Article 123 directly, indirectly, implicitly, explicitly, covertly or overtly regarding to the process or the separation of powers, considering that, and also the balance of power between the different legislative bodies. So I hope this is clear. The next one is the vulnerability reminder. Now, what is this? First of all, what kind of vulnerability we are talking about? You should understand. This article is related to Reserve Bank of India. It is advised to basically Reserve Bank of India that you need a tighter oversight committee which will provide you better control, better observation, and better plugging the loopholes that are used by the exploiters in the banking system. When we say the Reserve Bank of India last year report have said that there were 1 lakh fraud cases that have been committed, they have been increased to 2.5 lakh cases. The numbers are not important, just remember the numbers are doubled over the last year. In that particular case, it is prominent to note that the big frauds have doubled over the previous case by 76%. So the big fraud cases are currently happening. Now, what RBI should do, there should be prompt reporting, there should be a particular framework under which it should be noted, there should be open analysis of the system securities and the loopholes, there have been a background check that is needed to be done, there have been certain creditors who have been habitual defaulters with respect to the loan that they have been taken. So to overcome that particular data with respect to the whole credit history or whole debit history of that particular person, there is more thing to be looked out for and more issues to be looked out for. Okay, so यही इन्होंने कहा है, and in the end he have said the laxity in the financial system, this is not hoped of the RBI, this is not where the RBI have been constituted. The RBI should come forward and they should have a wholesome approach with respect to the control, monitoring and reporting or containing the frauds that are being made, committed or have come to the light with respect to the issues. So I hope this is clear. The next one is the India and Russia look for a reset. Now this is a very fine written article, but if you have not known all the issue, please do not read those particular articles, because this particular P.S. Raghavan is the former Indian ambassador to Russia, and he have written whole of the history of Russia with regard to the issues what have happened earlier, what is happening now. So he have started by saying that whenever there was in 1950s there was Cold War between USA and Russia, they have not interacted with one another. At that particular time, China was not much favorable to, Russia was not much favorable to China. In the same manner, USA was also not favorable to India. So there have been serious concerns between the government of President Nixon and the government of India under Indira Gandhi. So they have been on loggerheads with one another. Then there came 1971 war, so the relationship between the two nations further deteriorates. It was only after 99 or 2003 you can say that the relations started improving between the two nations, and the first major deal that was between Mr. Manmohan Singh and President Barack Obama at that particular time. They started the nuclear civil deal between India and USA. So that led to the groundwork which have currently led to the cooperation between the two nations in present scenario. Now he takes the practical consideration. Mr. P.S. Raghavan have taken the practical consideration right now. First of all, he say that if we look at China and Russia, definitely Russia is not the economic power that it is once used to be, which can challenge the authority of USA. China have taken that particular place and China is directly challenging the economic authority of USA. But it can't be discounted that Russia still have the strategic advantage, and furthermore they have the advantage with respect to the defense equipments. In the case of defense equipments, if you see, the Chinese government is basically buying 70% of the defense equipment from Russia. If you talk about India, India is buying 50% of their defense equipments for Russia, and Pakistan, sorry, Pakistan is also emerging as a major buyer on the behalf of China. Now, when we talk about these particular issues, there have been serious concerns between India and Russia as the meeting this time have happened in the case of Delhi. Indian government is saying that as they have basically tried to make it clear to the Russian foreign minister that whatever your concern is with respect to the Eurasia, so is our concern with respect to the Indo-Pacific. But the Russian government have not bought it. First of all, what are the concern of Russia with respect to the Eurasian region? First of all, where is Eurasian region? When we talk about Eurasian region, we are talking about the countries of Asia and Europe. I hope you remember Russia is a country that is located both in Europe and both in Asia. Now, when we talk about Russia have annexed Crimea in 2014 or I think in 2018. I'm not able to recall the exact year now, and I think in 2018 it have done it. But at that particular time, there have been various NATO allies who have raised concern with respect to the actions that the Russia have taken. Russia want to gain its space in the region in the Europe and also the region that is located in the Central Asian region. Now, they have been asking that it should be peaceful, and when Russia attacked Crimea, they said that for the larger peace of the particular region, it is in the interest of Russian government to ensure peace by directly intervening into the different countries' affairs. This is the same thing that India have convened, that whatever your problem is with Eurasia, similar is the problem we had with Indo-Pacific Ocean. So when we talk about Indo-Pacific region, we only want to make it free and fair, without any hegemonic attitude, without any interference, without any intimidation from any other party. But Russia does not seem to buy it. Apart from that, when we talk about the possibility that whether Russia or China will come one another, India have raised its concern that your close relationship with China and Pakistan is not looked in a very good light in India, but Russia have said in press conferences multiple times that there may be a possibility with respect to Russia and China military alliance in the near future. But please understand, the Russia and China military alliance is only going to be between the two nations that is targeted against USA. There is no other purpose for Russia and China to come close to one another rather than USA. Apart from that, when we talk about Russia, they have also said that we will be helping Pakistan with respect to the assistance that they will be needing in countering the terrorism or increasing their terrorism capability. So basically it is saying that whoever is killing the individual, you will give them more arms so that they will not be able to kill the other people. Apart from that, when we talk about the strategic doctrines in the case of how the country should act, India is located at a very important position with respect to the geography in India. So India, even though Russia and China decide to keep India out of the purview, they cannot do it, or neither of the world country can do it, because India is situated in South Asia, which is a direct contact between the Central Asia through the sea routes and through the land routes, and also with respect to the Asian nations. So if you have to establish a contact between them, you have to go through India. We had a huge expand. If you have to go to the Indian Ocean, there is definitely going to be some form of interference or some form of autonomy that is going to be provided by the Indian government as a state. Now, please understand here, Mr. P.S. Raghavan is saying that it is up to Russia now to decide that in which way they want to go. If they want to be the younger brother or the brother that is lesser to China, they can definitely going to have a military alliance with China, and then they will directly threaten the USA on the part that you should not instigate India in the case of generating another Cold War in India. And for the Asian regionalism, we need to get away from the hegemony of the West. However, India is the only country in South Asian region that is directly cooperating with the West now for its own security interest. Apart from that, the Russia, if it decide to be individually performing but directly engaging with one other countries, so if it is individually performing, that that means that it choose to stay away from any of the military alliances, solid military alliance with other countries, but it is going to cooperate with them on different levels, then there will also be a multipolarity of the powers that may be existing and they may be co-joining on different issues with one another. But if it is a rigid structure that Russia want to build, then it will not be good for India. So India will have to look for an alternatives. And according to PS Raghavan, he also says that right now, I think the decision of India to get closer to USA is a practical consideration because they have seen the closeness over the previous years or some years between Russia and China, and definitely they are seeing the future that tomorrow or a day after tomorrow they are going to force this particular alliance that will be targeted against USA, but it may harm India up to a certain context because China have a land dispute with respect to the LAC. So I hope you understand all this part. So I think that is it for today. There are multitudes of faceted problems that he have taken in that, but this is just a part of it. I am very sure that PS Raghavan have more insights. If you want to read his own article, please search his name. Very nicely written article. If you only want to understand Russia and India relations, this is the person you should go for. Okay? Because I am not very satisfied with whatever he has written according to what could he have written. Okay? Otherwise, this article is very good. He may write a book on India-Russia relation, you need not to go into, but of course he will have more insight with respect to the relation between the two nations. The next one is the costly mistake. So this is between Cannon-Betwa link. I hope you remember. First of all, what is Cannon-Betwa? Cannon-Betwa is a tributary of Ganga river, and they are flowing in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Bundelkhand is a region that is located half in Madhya Pradesh and half in Uttar Pradesh. This Cannon-Betwa link, what it will do, it will transfer the surplus water of Ken to Betwa river. Around that Ken river, there will be a construction of a dam under which there will be a particular Panna Tiger Reserve that will be situated over there. Some part of it will be submerged. Ultimately, it will provide irrigation facilities to 4 districts of MP, 4 districts of UP. In MP, they will irrigate a total land of 6 lakh hectares. In UP, they will irrigate a total land of 2.51 lakh hectare. Now, this is a criticism, or this particular project is a national project as a part of 14 Himalayan rivers and the 16 Peninsular river who will be linked with one another. So that 30 canals and 3,000 reservoirs will be built so that irrigation facilities could be provided to 8.7 lakh hectare land. 87 hectare land could be provided. And center is basically bearing 90% of the total cost in that. And the problem here, according to the cost benefit analysis, if we do, there are 2 problems that he have raised. First of all, he have says that there is an environmental concern that is going to have. We have a huge part that will be submerged. We will have different kind of people who will be getting affected, specifically the tribal people. There will be livelihood, there will be submergence, and there will be increased risk with respect to wildlife that may be coming into the upcoming parts. The next issue he says is the cost benefit analysis. He says that when we talk about the southern rivers, it makes sense for the northern rivers as they are perennial in nature. So the surplus water that you have can be transferred to some other river and can be used as a better irrigation facility in the other area. But when we talk about the southern rivers or the peninsular river just below of Narmada river, or you can say the Deccan Plateau rivers, they only have water with respect to the rain when it is flowing in them. So do not have much surplus water. And in that particular part, these rivers are not flowing throughout the year. So if there is no surplus water, why you want to induct so much amount of other money to be spent in that and so much amount of submergence and environment loss we want to conduct? His criticism also come out of the way that there are no alternative mechanisms that are currently looked out for. If the people have been sensitized about rainwater harvesting and keeping the reservoirs or using consciously the rain that you are currently using, it could have been a better possibility decision that the state could have been, and it would have avoided the destruction, may have served the purpose, as the similar purpose will be served by this particular water linking project. So I hope this is clear. The next one is Navy seizes narcotic worth 3,000 crore in the Arabian Sea. So I hope you remember, if we're talking about narcotics, basically they will be coming from the Golden Triangle. When we talk about the Golden Crescent, I have multiple times told you, we have been a country which have been situated between Golden Triangle and Golden Crescent. When I talk about Golden Crescent, I mean Iran, Afghanistan and Pakistan, who produce a bigger amount of plant drugs. On the other hand, we had Myanmar, Thailand and Cambodia. So these are the three countries who are going to produce artificial drug with respect to the syringes injection. So therefore in the Mizoram you see the different amount of people who are getting affected because of the usage of drugs through syringes, which is currently increasing the HIV virus or HIV infection in those particular region also. So these are some of the things that you should know. The next one is GMM, that is Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, have become the first party to declare the electoral bond donors, that is currently who have donated to their particular party. They have named all the people who have donated to them. The next one is the IF chief to flag off Rafale jets during France visit. So he is going to basically go to France, and in that, when he will be going to France, he will be taking another batch of the Rafale fighters over there and hoping that they will be coming sooner to India, as there is imminent threat from China. The next news is Jaishankar returns after UAE trip. So there have been talk with respect to the back channel discussion. Now we have confirmed that they were the party who were actually conducting the back channel discussion that led to the ceasefire between the two nations. There have been further talks with respect to the cooperation and other part between the two nations, that is negotiated by UAE so that the common people could talk, and there have been no issue with respect to the Pakistan Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, that what kind of dialogues are currently going on between two parties. So no statement has been made by MEA. Maybe Pakistan, they have created a very worse situation over the years for winning the elections and all of the things that were currently happening around it. But at the end of the day, you have to sit on the negotiation table, you have to talk about your issues, and ultimately there will be a resolution that the both countries could agree with respect to the approach that they have taken to one another, and that may also open certain gates with respect to the cooperation in trade, business, or even in the health sector. The next one is the EU Council approved conclusion on Indo-Pacific strategy. So for the very first time, the European Union Council have said that they have working for the reinforcement of the strategic focus for the prosperity, security and sustainable development in the Indo-Pacific region. They are concerned about the rising challenges, and they are concerned about the tensions that are currently in the region that is created by the current China, and the approach that China is taking with respect to the intimidation to the neighboring countries is a serious threat. So this is what they have said. The next news is related to NASA Mars helicopter makes first flight on other planet. Just remember the name of the helicopter, Mars helicopter. It is called as Ingenuity, and it flew 10 feet above the Martian space for 39 seconds. So this is the first flight on Mars. Okay, you can call it. The next one is the Miguel Diaz-Canel have become the first ever civilian leader of the Communist Party after Raul Castro, that belonging to the Castro family, have stepped down, and that is it. I hope you have read about the history, so I will not be going into that. The next one is the Iran nuclear talks enters drafting stage. So solutions are still far away, but there have been a possibility of choosing a particular direction in which both the USA and the other countries, or the P5+1 countries, with respect to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action deal that allowed nuclear to have a certain enrichment level of 4.2% at home, so that they can use that particular for the power and not for the uranium rich nuclear fuel to be developed. But in the Recent revelations, there have been a bill that has been passed by the Iranian parliament in which they have cleared that the Israel is attacking their centrifuge, their nuclear facilities. So definitely they are going to produce from the centrifuge a 60% enrichment of the nuclear fuel, and that will just be away from the 90% of the 90% of the nuclear fuel enrichment that is required for the production of the nuclear weapons. So that is currently creating a situation, but solutions are still far away, but there are specific steps that are being taken and the countries are moving in the right direction. Sooner or later, there will be results that will be shown to you with regard to the peaceful negotiation between the two countries and whether they are going to again renegotiate the treaty or sign the older treaty that was in the earlier form. So this is what they have said. The next one is RBI set up a committee to review working of ARC. Remember the name. This is called as Sudarshan Shreen. And Sudarshan Sane Committee is basically going to look out for asset reconstruction companies because there is going to be a huge rise of NPAs, and this huge rise of NPAs is basically going to create trouble for the banks in banking, in making, in maintaining their businesses profitable. So these are some of the things that have been done or have been looked out in different reports of the RBI in which they have said that there are multiple things or multitudes of things that is needed to be done for the fixation, you can say, or for the solution with respect to the rising NPA problem in the Indian banking sector. So these are some of the things. I hope this is clear. Yeah, so I think that is it for today.